Right, so at about 8:29 tonight, officers were flagged down in the area behind me at about 56 and Chester Street. We also received multiple calls about gunfire in the area. When officers responded, they did identify and find some gunshot victims. As they were scooping up the victims and preparing them for transport to the hospital, they also heard multiple gunshots up the street at 56 and Kingsessing Avenue, where multiple casings were found by us after the fact. While on Kingsessing, they heard additional gunshots, multiple gunshots, in the area of 1800 block of Frazier. At some point, they locate the suspect, and they were able to pursue this male who was on foot. The officers were on foot as well, and they followed or pursued this male from Kingsessing along Fraser Street to Springfield while the male was shooting. Our officers were able to apprehend the male in the rear alley of 1600 Fraser Street, and when they did, this male was wearing a bulletproof vest with multiple magazines in the vest. He also had a scanner and an AR style rifle and a handgun underneath his body. He was taken into custody without further incident. This scene consists of it's pretty much a 2 by 4 block radius, and it consists of approximately 50 spent shell casings. Also, several vehicles were struck by gunfire. What we know right now is that there are 6 shooting victims, 4 of which are deceased. 2 that are stable are juveniles, a 2-year-old and a 13-year-old. The 4 deceased victims, their ages range from 20 to 59. One victim, we don't know who they are yet. We don't know how old they are, but they could be between the ages of 16 and 21. All of our shooting victims are male. At this point, as you can see, there are several scenes out here. We're canvassing the area to get as much as we can to identify witnesses, to identify where cameras are located, and do everything that we can to figure out the why behind this happening.
So, one suspect.
One suspect.
And he's in custody.
Yes.
And police were pursuing him as he was firing with his AR-15 rifle.
I don't know if he was firing the rifle at the time we were pursuing or the handgun, but yes, he was actively shooting a firearm at the time our officers were pursuing.
And do you think this has anything to do with the July 4th shooting, anything like that?
We have absolutely no idea why this happened. Like I said, we have this person in custody. We're doing what we can to positively identify this person. I can't tell you at this point if we've had previous contact with this individual or not, but I thank God our officers were here on scene. They responded as quickly as they did. They showed up. I can't even describe the level of bravery and courage that was shown, not in addition to the restraint that was also shown here. We unfortunately have 6 victims here, but it could have been more had it not been for the officers' actions.
Commissioner, the rifle was found in the alleyway, correct, at the 1600 block of Fraser?
The rifle, so when we took the male into custody, we recovered his rifle and another firearm, yes.
Were there any events going on during this time? Any cookout? Were there any events you could tell us? A block party? Anything that started this?
We don't know at this time. But again, at this point, all we know is that this person decided to leave their home and to target individuals.
Sorry about that. The 4 deceased were 20 to 59, the age range, and then
I believe 20, 22, and 59. There's one John Doe that could be between the age range of 16 to 21. Unfortunately, those are the 4 that are deceased. And we have 2 juveniles that were shot who are in stable condition, ages 2 and 13 years old.
And were all of the
bulletproof vest? Did anybody shoot at him?
So we do believe that. So we do have another person in custody that, again, we don't know what the connection to the shooter is that may have picked up someone's gun and returned fire at that time. So there are 2 people in custody. I'm sorry, I left that out. There are 2 people in custody, including our original shooter, the original calls that we responded to. And then at some point, as victims were being shot, we have another person that we believe acquired a gun somehow, don't know how, and picked up the gun and returned fire in the direction of the shooter that we have in custody. So we're still trying to sort everything out. So we have 3 guns recovered, 2 people in custody.
What are the conditions right now of the children?
They're in stable condition.
And were all of the victims on the street at the time? Is that how they got shot, or can you?
I believe so, whether in a vehicle or on the street, but we believe, again, everyone was out doing what they were doing. And at this point, we don't see a connection to any of the victims and the shooter. So we're still trying to piece it together and figure it all out.
Commissioner, you can confirm that no children were killed here. These are all adults that we're talking about that were killed.
That is correct.
How were your officers able to take him into custody? Was he firing at them? Did they tackle him? How did that all go down?
You know, the way it was described to me is that once he was cornered in the alley, the officers gave him commands to show his hands, and they were able to get him into custody without further incident.
Is he
You mean he dropped his weapon?
That I don't know.
He dropped his weapon at that point when the officers apprehended
I
him?
can say he was taken into custody without incident.
Do we know his age?
I believe he's 40 years old, African-American male, 40 years old.
What about the other person in custody? Age and...
I don't have those demographics. All right, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.